Alumni Connect, March 2024. How are you all? Thank you for being
Great.
here. That's great.
Thank
So
you.
today, everyone, I'm Sanya Hussain, and most of you have been my students at some point or the other. And today we've got three wonderful alumni who are here with us to help you, guide you, answer your questions, tell us a little bit about about their story, their trajectories, and to motivate you and to answer any questions that you have towards the end of the session. So are we ready to begin
Absolutely.
now? Great. So I'll do the honors of first introducing Faryal Humayun, who's here. She's a teacher at O-level teacher at Lahore Grammar School, and she's here, and she's also a Fulbright awardee. We've got Shaji Ahmed, again, an associate in education skills in youth, Tabad Lab, right? Tabad
Yep.
Lab, yeah. I'm so sorry, my Urdu pronunciation is not the best. And then we've got Hadia Asim, Program Manager, Amal Academy. So hi, everyone. I would ask you to, I will call you out. I'd like you to tell us about yourselves, how you joined the program, what you do currently. So just a brief description, introduction of yourself, and then we'll take it from here. So we'll begin with Faryal. Faryal.
Right. Yes, Assalamu alaikum. So I'm Faryal Humayun, like Sanya just introduced me really well. So I'm teaching, yes, O-level students at multiple schools in Lahore, including the Lahore Grammar School. I teach economics and business studies to O-level students. And I'm very happy where I am. But in a few years' time, perhaps I'm looking for more leadership roles, more into school administration, preferably middle-cost private schools. That is something that worries me the most, and something I learned during the MPhil program as well. So perhaps take my teaching experience and my learning from the MPhil program to turn around any of these schools, perhaps.
Right. So thank you very much, Faryal. And then we'll ask you more questions related to your trajectory. So Shaji, would you like to introduce yourself now?
Sure. Thank you, Sanya. So I'm Shaji, and I was part of the inaugural Executive MPhil Education Leadership and Management Program. Currently, I'm working as an associate in the Center of Education Skills and Youth at the Bath Lab. And I've been in the education sector ever since I graduated back in 2018. I worked with Teach for Pakistan, then I worked with Knowledge Platform, and now I'm working with the Bath Lab. So I worked in various different domains, starting right from the classroom level now up till to the policy level. And yeah, moving forward, I would love to, share my ideas and thoughts of how I got here and what I've been doing so far. So yeah, that's my brief introduction.
Thank you. And now Hadia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hadia Asim. I'm currently working as a program manager at Amal Academy, which is a career preparatory fellowship for students who come from subsidized universities. So it's sort of like uplifting the youth and providing them like with soft skills. I started my journey in 2018. After graduating, I joined an educational consultancy firm where I did a bit of career guidance. And then after that, I joined LUMS. And after that's where I really realized that I wanted to work in the higher education sector. And when I got the opportunity, I joined I joined Amal Academy and haven't looked back. So I'm really glad about that opportunity. And I'd love to share my thoughts and my experience as well with everybody.
So I have a question now that you've introduced yourselves and told us what you're doing currently. So is this where you wanted to be a few years ago? Anyone can feel free to answer. I'm going to ask all of you, but anyone who would like to volunteer first.
Sure, if no one.
Yep. Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So no, actually, I didn't know this was where I was going to end up. I did know I was going to enter the education sector, but I thought I'd start off in the school domain, so teaching at schools. for like O levels and A levels. But then it was at my time at LUMS when I realized that when I was working with little children, and then I was also working simultaneously in another capacity as an RA with in the higher education sector. So that's where I kind of understood that maybe my understanding and my field would be more, my interest would more align with higher education and working with students who are in their undergraduate because they're just entering their, a new phase of their life. And I've gone through that uncertainty, and I think all of us have at some point, but my uncertainty continued even after 2018. Even though I knew I was going in education, I wasn't sure. So I kind of wanted to, be there as a career guide or, as in the form of consultancy. So yeah, that was my.
Yeah, I can go next now. So when I started out with Teach for Pakistan, I was teaching in a low-income community school in Tarnaul, which is in the suburbs of Islamabad. That's when I realized that my progression in the education sector should look something like एक level पे अगर आप education sector को influence कर रहे हैं, so once you progress further, you have to influence the education sector at a higher level, and that's why I joined Knowledge Platform right after I did my fellowship. उसके अंदर I was making digital content for schools जो के Knowledge Platform के थे. Then I moved towards the management level, जहाँ पर मैंने at first I joined Teach for Pakistan as an assistant manager for special projects, where I managed a project with the Ministry of Education, MOFEP, and now currently I'm working at a policy level. So I've always tried to step a bit higher in the education hierarchy. So जो आपके interventions हैं, they can influence a lot more children and a lot more people within the education sector. So now, honestly, at a policy level, I truly feel कि इसके बाद next step जो है वो policy level के बाद तो I truly feel कि बस education minister बनने का ही रह गया. So I don't know if that may happen or not, but yeah, that's where I'm currently at.
Right. And is this what you wanted to do a few years ago? So
Yes,
are
yes,
you
yes.
are you on the track that you wanted to be on?
Yes, of course. That's exactly how I started. That every step of the way, I really wanted to influence a bit more than what I was doing. So in a classroom, I was influencing maybe 100 kids, and then when I was developing content, digital content, thousands of kids were learning from my content. And now when I'm at a policy level, it's at a more provincial level. So there are like millions of kids who are being impacted by the interventions that are being made currently at the Bad Lab through the different ministries.
Right. Thank you, Shanti. What about you, Faryal, now?
Well, I've been teaching for the past 20 years now. Same O levels, economics and business studies. This was not my intention. Of course, once you get married and then you have limited options, you end up teaching. So honestly, that is how I got into it, but got addicted. And I never want to give up teaching. Honestly, I want to do something else with my life as well, but not give up teaching. So I'm happy where I am, but I have progressed. Wise, yes, like I said, that I would like to get into school administration, which hasn't happened as yet, maybe in a couple of years. And what I wanted to do and why I joined the MPhil program was basically as a stepping stone towards a PhD. And that, alhamdulillah, I did achieve, as in getting the Fulbright Award and everything. So my goal was that to get a PhD and then get into maybe more policy level work for Pakistan. So yes, I'm headed that way. But teaching is something I really love and probably will be continuing.
Mm-hmm. So now, since most of you are where you wanted to be, and Hadia, in your case, you didn't really know, but you then along the way found your calling. How did this MPhil program help you reach where you are, or where you wanted to be, or where you might want to go further from here? So what kind of role did the MPhil program play?
So I can start?
Yes, Faryal, thank you.
Yeah, like I said, so MPhil has been basically a stepping stone for me because I started studying after a very long gap of 20 years. So I wanted to learn more about this field, education, first of all, and also get more experience into research work before I could start a PhD. So this program definitely helped me a lot achieve both of these things. I don't think I could ever have gotten the Fulbright Award and written those essays that I wrote had I not come to LUMS and your guidance, of course. So the contributions from Dr. Taiba, Dr. Razia, Dr. Sophia, Dr. Lorna, they were just simply amazing. And Dr. Mariam Chuktai's leadership class was probably the best experiential learning experience there was. And of course, not to mention Dr. Faisal Bari, of course, who was the dean, who was my professor leading the thesis as well. So his research and leadership skills, all of that sort of changed me in a very interesting way, and I could feel the end result as being a better teacher as well, a better writer as well, a better researcher as well, and more close to my goal of getting a PhD. So definitely LUMS helped.
Thank you, Faryal. Just to add on to this, you say that this program helped you become a better teacher. How did you manage that? So what aspects of the program?
Because I learned from the best how they and of course all of you had a different style of teaching, and especially Sanya, if you remember, we're the COVID batch, right?
Yeah.
So everything was on completely online, and how amazingly well you all conducted the classes. They were so engaging, and it was a challenging thing, and I could understand that being a teacher myself, how challenging it could have been, but it was done so well. So I learned a lot from that.
Right. So you would say that the learning, the experience was more holistic.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Faryal. Shaji, what about you? How did the
Yeah,
MPhil help you get where you are? Or if you didn't plan this, if it didn't, what would you share with us?
Yeah, so my answer may sound a bit myopic to some of you, but that's okay. But when I started the MPhil program, so I didn't really had anything in my mind that I want to, get something out of it. It was more of a learning experience for me that this is a sector in which I've been working for the past 3 years when I applied here, and I want to learn more about it. And I was just looking at options to study in the field of education. And to be honest, apart from LUMS, there is no other school, at least that I know of, that offers such a program, and especially a program for someone who is working. So when I found out about the weekend track, I was like that this is like the ideal program for me to apply, and that's what I did. And as far as the learnings throughout the MPhil program are concerned, one thing that one course actually that is helping me a lot, especially in the role that I am currently, because I'm a research associate at the Bath Lab. So there's a lot of quantitative research that is involved, and a lot of number crunching, and huge data sets, and how to analyze them, and everything related to that. So one particular course that helps me like each and every day of my work is the data analysis course and the data lab that came with it. The software that we learn in that Stata. I've been using that on and off throughout the course of my current work. And as far as the learnings apart from that are concerned, I guess the जो education landscape का एक व्यू था वो मेरा बहुत शिफ्ट हो गया था, because I was coming from right after my fellowship, and my view was very classroom centric, and what can happen in a classroom and what's good in a classroom. But after doing the program, it became a lot more holistic, and that really helped me progress further in the steps of the education system to move to a policy level.
So when you say your view changed, what brought in that change? What particular aspect of the program?
I guess there were a few courses, not just one aspect of it. I guess there were a few instructors and a few courses who brought that view, and that was in the design of the course. For example, school effectiveness, which was taught to us by Dr. Gulab, that was a very holistic approach to the education system. Then there was interdisciplinary theoretical perspective on education, which was taught by Dr. Taiba. And that was, I guess, one of my favorite courses, or the favorite courses. I also got an A in that, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but that really shifted that, education system. It's not just about, okay, fix the education system. There are a lot of other systems at play, the economics of it, the finances of it, the administration of it, and not just the administration of education, but the administration of the country, how it's being governed. That really plays a role how education eventually shapes out. So I guess those were really eye-opening courses for me, and that really changed my perspective in how I look the education system. पहले थोड़ा सा एक बिल्कुल centric होता था कि schools को बेहतर करने तो हो जाएगा, but the system to fix the education system, there's a lot more that needs to go in apart from just, focusing on the schools.
Yeah. Thank you, Shaji. What about you, Hadia? How did the MPhil program help you get where you
Okay,
are?
so I would have to say I would relate to Shaji's experience in the sense that when I joined, I was unsure of where I wanted to go. But these courses, interdisciplinary, just theoretical perspectives and school effectiveness in particular, they sort of like they identified what is the difference between being an actual teacher and then just throwing information at children, which is like one very important aspect of what where I'm working right now, because we're dealing with people and we're dealing with students who are about to enter, another phase of their life. And it's not just me throwing information at them; it's about facilitation. So that distinction I learned through these courses, and through the professors, because that in constant engagement in the classroom, that it matters a lot, and it also keeps you thinking and on your feet, which is something that I use all the time. Another aspect is field experience. So dealing with different sorts of people from the get-go, which is so important because that's how you're able to understand the diversity of the country that you're living in. Even if we're in we're Pakistan, but even within Pakistan, even within Lahore, there's just such a number of people that are so different from you and have such a vastly different experience. So just being able to interact with them, especially in the government sector, because now I'm working with children who are mostly from government universities. So now I'm able to understand their perspective a little bit better. And also working in as an RA, I got the chance to work, experience facilitation and get that sort of practical experience that helped me within not only in my thesis, but I'm using those same practices now to engage my students. And also other aspects of the fellowship are of the thesis are perhaps might also help me moving forward, because I'm also considering all the opportunities I have within my own company, and and I worked in curriculum development for my thesis, although it was for children. But some of those practices that I learned and theories I learned, I would want to build upon that and further my career in that direction. So this is sort of all of that, all of what I learned from MPhil. And there are other aspects as well, but they've been covered plenty by both Prayal and Shaji.
Thank you. Now, take a moment to look back at your journey at SOE and the 2 years that you were there and doing your MPhil. So, what kind of advice would you or suggestions would you like to give to SOE per se? Because I'm sure there must have been some kinds of challenges that you had faced, and some kind of good things as well, things that you would think should be continued and probably developed further. So let's begin with you, Shaji. What would you like to say?
Well, I can talk about the weekend track because that's what I was a part of. And I guess we have been giving plenty of suggestions for that since we were the inaugural batch as well. And there were some things sort of, even as Bari Saab used to say, you are kind of, we are experimenting and teaching you at the same time. So there have been a few suggestions, especially with regards to how it's structured, especially how courses are taught, right? Like if you start teaching the courses straight away, 4 classes on the weekend, that used to become a bit exhaustive for the students. So my suggestion would be, and this was something which was implemented in the first semester, but not so much in the second semester. The academic writing and leadership course were started, they got completed, and then the two others were started, and that really helped us in structuring it a lot better. But in the second semester, all four of the important courses, which were data analysis, social justice in education, data lab, all started simultaneously, and that really caused us a lot of trouble. And we talked to the dean as well, but of course they couldn't change it within our during the course of our second semester. But I hope that that's improved over the years, that the structuring of the weekend track can be a lot better, and it can also help both the students and the instructors to structure it in a way that it's not so overwhelming and students are able to catch what they are learning. And apart from that, again, I may be a bit biased since I'm working on policy, but I truly believe that data lab and data analysis are really, really important courses if anyone wants to get into the policy side of it. And quantitative research is very, very important. Maybe add one one other elective related to it that can really help students deepen their understanding even further. So I had to take another course after my MPhil to ground myself a bit further, but I guess that can be incorporated in the coursework as well with regards to electives.
Thank you, Shaji. What about you, Faryal? What would you suggest or advise us on?
Yeah, something I felt that in some of the courses, the references or case studies were from other countries, US or other places. So I believe that there should have been more focus on Pakistan, because the whole purpose, at least the way reason I joined this MPhil program, was because ultimately I'm going to make a difference in the Pakistani education system and contribute towards that. So most of the people coming from whatever background they are not really connected to the root education in Pakistan. So if there could have been more case studies or more field work related to case studies in Pakistan, so probably one can understand the local dynamics better. And since mine was the COVID batch, like I said, so perhaps we could not do a lot of field work. I don't know whether maybe that's happening more now, perhaps. But if not, then I really would like that in almost every course, one should go out in the field and get that experience firsthand of what is happening in education in Pakistan.
So why would you recommend that, Faryal? What difference do you think fieldwork makes?
Because it exposes you to the exact problems or issues that there are. Reading them theoretically is one thing, but engaging with the stakeholders firsthand would be better. And then, of course, you can devise strategies to improve on that. So I think fieldwork would be very important.
Thank you, Faryal. Hadia, what would you like to say?
Okay, so two suggestions. One, I would say maybe have like a sort of a catch-all management course as a core course of the program, so that because you can we have them as electives, but having a core course, because it is the education, leadership, and management, so having that would be like it'll be a step above what we're currently being offered. Another thing would be so our research methods course was amazing. Obviously, Dr. Sophia was amazing. One aspect that could be included is a bit more about the pre-work involved in research, because research methods was primarily theoretical. So having an understanding of the pre-work involved, the practical pre-work involved in terms of, launching your research, for instance, writing an IRB application and all of those aspects, if they're also covered before the thesis even begins, then that would also be like, a good a way of improving the students' chances of, having a smoother thesis application.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now that we have the students here with you, some of them are currently on this and some of them have already graduated or are doing other parts of this. You all agree that there is a lot of struggle involved in any program that you might like to do, and especially if it's the weekend track or what people who are already working, students who've joined in and from different fields where you're struggling with writing and case studies and everything. So what kind of advice would you like to give to your peers or your friends here, the current students at this thing? Somebody has raised their hand. If you could just wait till they finish. So what kind of advice would you like to give to the current students for preparation, or for, just hanging on and, just carrying on? Because, yeah, you've gone through that mill, right? You've gone through that grind.
Yeah. I guess one advice is घबराना नहीं है. And it is part of what you are getting into, especially if you are applying to the weekend track. It will get very hectic at times because you are working a full-time job, and then you are, on weekends you are taking the classes. And though they are on alternate weekends, but of course the coursework that you have to do, you only get the weekend in between to do that, and after your work. So it does get very tiring and exhausting over the course of the track, but at the end it is really worth it. What you are getting out of it is a lot more than what you're putting into, and it's very well recognized in the industry. That's something I can speak about. Ever since I've graduated, it's a really well recognized degree, especially in Pakistan. So yeah, just hang in there, work hard, and instructors को जितना तंग कर सकते हैं जरूर करें, because यही time होता है to reach out to them and clear your concepts and everything, clear your things, because after उसके बाद ये चीजें अगर नहीं क्लियर होनी तो उतना ही मुश्किल होता जाता है. स्पेशली तन्या को आप जितना तंग कर सकते हैं करें, बिकॉज एकेडमिक राइटिंग जो है वो अच्छी आना बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, not just in your throughout the course of the degree, but even after that, because ये चीज जो है ये आपके साथ professionally रहती है.
All right. So we've got a little comment in the chat box, which seems quite relevant. Kainat says that when you've got to travel from one province to another for attending your weekend classes only, it surely gets horrible. So
I
yes.
can relate to that. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I was living in Islamabad when I was doing. I'm still living in Islamabad, but when I was doing my MPhil, I was living in Islamabad. So yeah, it was very hectic. So after work, used to leave on Friday and then take the classes Saturday, Sunday, and then after Sunday 6 baje, get back into Islamabad and Monday work. So yeah, it was very hectic, but yeah, was able to
So
pull through.
Roma has raised her hand and she'd like to say something. Can we hold it, Roma, till we get everyone's perspective, and
Sure,
then
sure,
we
Miss Anu.
can take you can pose questions. That's not a problem. So Faryal, what advice would you like to give?
Like Shaji said, ghabrana nahi hai. So don't underestimate yourself. Because if you're here with a passion, then believe that you can do it. I was not in the weekend program, I was in the regular program, but I was working in 2 schools at that time. I have a family, and so it was, yes, it was COVID, and most of the stuff was online, but still, of course, it was very hectic. And also, I was the dinosaur. I was the oldest member of the cohort, and the youngest one was 22 years younger than me. So I was really apprehensive at first, and I was quite intimidated by the younger lot. And like I said, coming back to education after like 20 years. So many of them were LUMS graduates as well. So I really didn't think I could compete with them. Not that I was there for this purpose, I was there for learning, but still, you feel that. So the first semester, to be honest, did not go too well. But after that, I sort of geared up and worked to the best to my potential. I ended up with getting a 4.0 GPA in both the semesters. I was also among the only 7 people on DHL out of a cohort of 47. So I believe I could do it. And, if I could just give in my best. And also, I would suggest that, like Shaji said, you should reach out to professors as much as you can. They are definitely very helpful and very cooperative, and also very interesting thing which I saw here, and honestly I wasn't expecting, but there was a lot of inclusivity. They don't just talk about it, it was actually practiced. There were people with language issues, so they could give their presentation in Urdu, for instance. There were people with anxiety issues, and the faculty, the dean held it, dealt with that really well. So just reach out to them as much as you can, and it will be a great learning experience.
Zabardast. Thank you. Hadia, your final word.
Yes. So first of all, इन्होंने तो कह दिया है कि घबराना नहीं है, and that's absolutely right. And also don't fixate on your grades. I think even if we try our hardest not to, but कोशिश करता रहना है, और not fixating and just focusing on what you're learning, because in the end your learning is what matters. Everything else is just, those are just the bells and whistles attached to it. Another thing is diversify your experience. So don't do your courses, but also make sure that, use SOE to its fullest. They offer a lot of things, and RA ships, TA ships, just keep on experiencing, different things within SOE and within LUMS. And also one thing would be intentional with the way you choose your courses, your electives, especially because that's what will decide your trajectory and your interest as you move forward. I got into qualitative and curriculum because I started off by selecting certain courses that were geared towards that. So be very intentional with that. So those are my final words.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we all enjoyed your experiences and talking about your current practices. Now I'm going to ask all the participants to pose any questions or make any comments that they have. So feel free to unmute your mic and speak up. Yes, you've raised your hand first. There's just a dot that I can see, so I don't know your name. Please speak up.
Hello, so here is Alishba.
Okay, Alishba.
Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful insights, Shaji, Hadia and Faryal. I know आप लोगों ने जो हमें advice दी है कि अच्छा घबराना नहीं है, तो बट सेकेंड के साथ ही में 2 सब्जेक्ट्स ऐसे हैं जिसमें मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा घबराहट हो रही है. I want to know more about insights कि आप कोई स्मार्ट ट्रिक्स दे दें जिससे हम लोग, बिकॉज शजी आपसे स्पेसिफिकली लॉन्ग टर्म में आई आल्सो वांट टू गो फॉर पॉलिसी, और उसमें एज यू सेड कि डाटा लैब और डाटा एनालिसिस का जो है बहुत बड़ा रोल है, बट आई एम स्ट्रगलिंग. आई नो इंस्ट्रक्टर्स जो हैं वो कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, बट एज अ स्टूडेंट व्हाट शुड आई डू कि मैं उसमें मास्टरी हासिल कर सकूं. थैंक यू सो मच.
Okay, thank you. So particularly talking about these 2 courses, data lab जो है उसके अंदर तो I truly believe के practice is the most important thing. और वो practice outside the classroom ज़्यादा होती है as compared to inside the classroom. So inside the classroom, Ahmed Ayub was teaching us. I don't know अभी कौन पढ़ा रहे हैं, but वो certain questions दे देते हैं and we had to analyze the data based on that. But what I used to do कि मैं YouTube पे tutorials उसके ज़रूर देखता था जाके. सिंपल कमांड्स किस तरह से होती हैं स्टेटा में, किस तरह से एक बड़ा डेटा सेट एनालाइज होता है. एंड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ प्रीसेट डेटा सेट्स ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल. गूगल पे आप सर्च करें, आपको बहुत सारे मिल जाएंगे पाकिस्तान के ही. पीबीएस की जो पाकिस्तान ब्यूरो ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स है, उनकी वेबसाइट्स पे काफ़ी डेटा सेट्स पड़े हुए हैं और वो स्टेटा के फॉर्मेट में भी अवेलेबल होते हैं. SPSS स्टेटा दोनों के में होते हैं. So just go on that and download one of them and just play with them first. के just try to find out कि अच्छा मैं ये डेटा निकालना चाह रही हूँ इसके अंदर से, how can I do that, and just play with them a bit and try to get a bit more intuitive in that. I know ये थोड़ी सी counterproductive भी हो सकती है, but that's how I learned language or any coding language particularly. जितना आप intuitive हो सकते हैं उसके साथ, that's very helpful rather than go towards processes कि अच्छा इसकी ये command है, command का ये मतलब है. Try to learn from a problem rather than कि पहले statements learn करें and उसके बाद उसको implement करें. First see a problem and then try to use the statements that are available to find out the required data. So that's one of the best practices to learn data sets, both data lab and data analysis.
Oh, sorry. G. Roma, you wanted to say something. You've raised your hand.
Gee, thank you, Ms. Sanya. Thank you so much, three of you, Sir Shaji, Ms. Hadia, and Ms. Faryal. I have a question from Ms. Faryal as well as Shaji, but I'd like to go with Sir. If you could just answer that, how do you approach addressing the challenges and opportunities within the education sector in today's time, particularly concerning issues related to skills development and youth empowerment in your current role?
Yeah, so particularly when we talk about skills and youth development, there's a lot of space that is available for improvement. And if I talk currently about my role, we are trying to get a lot into the skills development sector. But at the moment, if I'm really honest with you, हम ज़्यादा focus हमारा education के ऊपर ही है. So the projects that we are currently doing, which are the client projects, they are mainly related to education. But skills ke andar, we really want to make a dent because there's a lot of opportunity available. NAVTEC ek organization on the national level, which is working on vocational and technical skills, but there is still a lot of improvement that needs to be done. And uske andar skills की जब बात होती है तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा definition को mix up कर देते हैं. So currently I'm working on a paper which is exactly about a digital skills framework. उसके अंदर we are analyzing different frameworks of developing world and the developed world and trying to develop a skill framework for Pakistan कि किस तरह से पाकिस्तान का skill framework can look like if we want to implement a certain framework. सिंगापुर का एक बहुत extensive framework है कि वो स्कूल लेवल से बता रहे हैं कि अगर बच्चा फॉर एग्जांपल जहाजों में इंटरेस्टेड है, so what career pathways that kid can take, and they are talking about this in their primary school. So how can we implement such a thing in Pakistan? Of course पाकिस्तान की challenges बहुत differ करेंगे जो सिंगापुर के हैं, but we are trying to develop that framework for Pakistan, and it's currently in a very early stage. But yeah, that's the situation of the current skill and youth development in Pakistan.
And so, how do you stay updated with the current trends, research, and best practices in education and youth development? Are there any particular resources or professional development opportunities that you find valuable? And what advice would you offer to individuals like me interested in pursuing a career in education, skills development, based on your experiences and insights gained in this sector?
Right. So one thing that's really important for anyone working in the education system is to learn कि पाकिस्तान की कौन सी publications annually आती हैं. So कौन सी चीजें आ रही हैं. So PBS की report आती है, वो कब आती है. असर की report आती है, वो कब आती है. उसमें क्या क्या cover होता है, क्या क्या limitations होती हैं. I guess staying updated with that is extremely important. And उसके अंदर भी even जो Pakistan education statistics which have been released by PAI recently in January, उसके अंदर भी skills का बहुत बड़ा aspect cover हुआ होता है. They are just numbers, उनके अंदर numbers ही वो cover होते हैं. That's the basis of it. But that really gives you an idea of what actually is happening in the education system. So उसके अंदर एक one बड़ा interesting table है that I would like to share with you all, जिसके अंदर teacher qualification लिखी हुई है of different level पे जो teachers पढ़ा रहे हैं. So higher secondary में teachers पढ़ा रहे हैं, so उनकी क्या qualification है. So interestingly, in the data that is presented in that report, पाकिस्तान के जो हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल्स हैं उसमें 1100 टीचर्स ऐसे हैं ऑल ओवर पाकिस्तान जिनकी अपनी जो एजुकेशन लेवल है दैट इज मिडिल, एंड दैट इज बीइंग रिपोर्टेड इन दी पाकिस्तान एजुकेशन स्टैटिस्टिक्स. यू कैन लुक इट अप. मैं रिपोर्ट आपके साथ शेयर भी कर सकता हूँ. ये पाकिस्तान पाई की वेबसाइट पे अवेलेबल है. सो उनकी मिडिल है एंड अराउंड 40 ऐसे भी हैं जो प्राइमरी पास हैं एंड दे आर टीचिंग इन हायर सेकेंडरी. So that really gives you an idea of what actually is happening in the education system. So these reports, everyone needs to stay updated with them if you want to really learn कि पाकिस्तान में हो क्या रहा है. And ये reported data है अभी. ये वो चीजें हैं जो report हो रही हैं. And what actions are being taken, that's like the next step of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for giving these insights. Ms. Ania, if you allow me, I have one question from Ms. Faryal.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Faryal, I was just reading through your I mean, we were provided with this introduction of yours. And I was just wondering that, pursuing an MPhil education at LUMS while also being involved in various research projects like, curriculum development. So it all sounds really demanding. Can you elaborate on any specific strategies or support systems that helped you navigate these challenges successfully?
That's a very interesting question, I must say. So Faryal, hands-on, right from the horse's mouth, as they say, because you've gone through that, being a
Honestly,
family woman and, being a mother and everything. Yeah.
honestly, it wasn't easy. Like I said, I was working in 2 schools. I have children, and also I was involved in multiple research projects during the MPhil program and keeping up with the grades. So family support definitely was one thing that helped me a lot. They were very accommodating. But yes, I believe time management. And also, I am a workaholic, to be honest. That is something I just want to do all the time. Even when I'm sleeping, I feel like it's so unproductive, you see. So I am a workaholic, but it did get to me. I had to see the LUMS, that psychologist we have at one point in time, that what am I doing and why am I doing this? But you just need time management, I guess. You need to set your priorities and it can happen.
Right.
Things
It's
at
not
one
that
point in
difficult.
time. Yeah.
It's
You can
doable.
wait. Yeah, it is doable. It is doable.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments or statements? No one? Okay. So shall we bring this to a close then? Okay. Any final
Ji,
words
Sanya.
that... Ji, Sarah?
Nini, I was saying,
Ji.
yes, I think we can wrap up now.
Okay. So thank you very much. Any final, one-liner that you'd like to say as a conclusion?
मेरी punchline जा चुकी है already, so you cannot say that again.
घबराना
Just to
नहीं है
thank
आपने.
you. Yeah,
Right.
just to thank you for inviting us and giving us this opportunity to interact with them and share our experiences. So yeah, it was
Thank
lovely.
you. Thank you for being here. And it's pretty heartening for them to hear you speak about your experiences and see you where they are, so that it gives them a great incentive. It motivates them. And they also feel kind of that camaraderie that they have, that also you also have gone through your challenges. So it wasn't a piece of cake, and it's definitely worth it. Thank you very much for your time and attention, all of you. And I would like to say goodbye. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Mashal, for
Thank
giving
you
us
so much,
this
Sanya.
opportunity.
Greatly appreciated,
Thank you.
Sanya.
Thank
Lovely,
you.
engaging session. And thank you, Shaji, Faryal, and Hadia. Really wonderful to
for
hear what you
inviting
guys
me.
are doing. Amazing work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so much for
goodbye.
having us.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. All of
Goodbye.
you. Goodbye.
Allah Hafiz.